Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I'm one of the UWork team members, and I'm here today to share some pretty important information on nonverbal communication and how important it is during job interviews, or just in general. It shouldn't take too long, so let's jump right in. So one way to tell future employers that you're serious about a job, or that you mean business in a professional setting, is through body language. Body language is extremely powerful. It's something that a lot of people don't necessarily take into consideration, but it's something that if you know how to use it correctly, you can really separate yourself in interviews, meetings, really any setting. So moving forward, looking at posture, posture is something that's extremely important in body language. When you're sitting, you want to make sure you're sitting up straight and not slouched, because that can convey that you're bored, you're not interested, or just being unprofessional in general. In this photo I have here on the left, you can see the girl she's kind of slouched. She's not really sitting up in her chair right. To simply put, she looks like she's disinterested. But then the girl on the right, she's sitting up straight in her chair. She seems like she's focused. She seems attentive. In an interview setting, the girl on the right definitely would have a better chance at getting the job rather than the girl on the left. When it comes to body movement, you don't want to be adjusting yourself in the chair too much, crossing or uncrossing your legs constantly. Too much body movement is distracting, and to some it can be even considered disrespectful. In regards to using gestures, hand gestures when you're talking can be very helpful. That can be a very helpful tool, something that I use frequently. But using too many gestures can take away from what you're actually saying and can ultimately be a distraction. Gestures can also be taken in different ways, especially depending on someone's culture. There's a picture here of a thumbs up and a thumbs down. In some cultures, maybe a thumbs up could mean way to go, good job, but in others it can have the complete opposite meaning. So using gestures or relying on gestures too much can sometimes be a negative thing. So yes, it's important to use gestures. Gestures can be very helpful to convey a message, but you don't really want to rely on them too much. Your facial expressions can tell a lot about you, particularly how you perceive any instance. In my opinion, I think it's best to stay away from polarized expressions. For example, if you're in an interview and someone says something that you don't necessarily agree with, it's probably best to not have a reaction that's going to really give it away that you don't agree with something like that. In my opinion, it's just try to stay away from those polarized expressions of, extreme anger, extreme happiness. Keeping a poker face sometimes is the best, in my opinion. And when it comes to eye contact, you definitely want to have good eye contact in an interview. Eye contact is something that you don't want too much of, but you don't want too little of. If you have too much of eye contact, someone's going to be thinking that you're staring down at them and wondering why. Why is this person looking down into my soul practically? But if you're not giving any eye contact, you're going to seem like you're disinterested. So when it comes to eye contact, there's a right balance, and I'm actually going to talk about eye contact later in a few slides. The words you use matter, and how you say them matters too. A lot of people don't necessarily take into consideration something like tonality and the volume at which you say something, and even the speed at how you say it. So when you're speaking, you want to sound loud, and you don't want to be too loud, but you want to sound like you're confident. There's a few ways to sound like you're confident. One way is to try to not use fillers like or like or I'm sure if you went through this PowerPoint again, you could probably count how many times I use those fillers. But it's something that I work on, something that you almost have to just practice at and get better at. And the more you do it, the more confident you're going to feel. The enunciation of your words is really important when speaking. First and foremost, you want people to be easily understanding your words and what you're saying. And with that, you want people to be captivated by what you're saying. You want people to continue to wanting to listen in. And by clearly saying your words and also by using correct speed, that's something that you can definitely do. In regards to speed, you want to make sure that you're not speaking too quickly. If you're speaking too quickly, it may seem like you're nervous. But on the other hand, if you're speaking at a very, very slow rate, then it might seem like you're uninterested or you don't know what you're talking about. Overall, speaking loudly, confidently, clearly, and at an appropriate speed will boost your image in the workplace. My grandfather used to always tell me that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so listen twice as much as you speak. And I think that it's definitely true. Listening is extremely important. just as important as speaking is. And there's a few things that you could do to be an active listener, to be a good listener. One thing is eye contact. If you have too much eye contact, it might seem like it's intimidating. Someone might feel like you're searching into their soul, and quite frankly, that's not what you want to do. But if you give too little eye contact, sometimes it seems like you're disinterested, or it might come off as disrespectful. Another important factor to take into consideration when you're being an active listener is distance. You don't want to be too close to someone. We all know a personal space, and we all know how personal it is when someone invades that space. And a good rule of thumb is about 18 inches. Yeah, you don't want to be within 18 inches of someone at that point. It's probably too close, and you're maybe invading their intimate space. But then also you don't want to be too far away. If you're 5 feet away from the person, it might seem a little odd that you're choosing to be that far away. Another quick tip is try to not sit higher than the presenter or leader. The person who is presenting wants to be able to convey their message out to everyone else. And if you're sitting up higher, or if you're above them, that they might feel intimidated by that. So really try to always make sure that you are out of their personal space and kind of lower than where they are. You want to try to eliminate as many distractions, whether they be physical, whether they be mental. I know it's tough. It's very difficult for me to even sit in a classroom and to be able to completely take away all distractions. But some distractions that are very common that I see all the time is fidgeting with jewelry or your watch or your clothes or anything really, or just your hands in general, your face, your hair. But remain focused on the speaker to the best of your ability. Try to really remain focused on them. Have good eye contact. And that'll tell you that you're not only hearing what they're saying, but you're understanding what they're saying. And with that comes head and facial movements. You know, nodding your head up and down, saying things like yes, I get it, okay, means that you're not only listening, but you're agreeing with them, and add a smile in too. If you're smiling when they're speaking, that means that they're enjoying what you're saying, and they're going to be more susceptible to enjoy the conversation as well. So now I'm going to be talking a little bit about dressing for success. And dressing in an appropriate manner is not only going to portray yourself in a positive manner, but could also help you feel more confident to rock an interview and eventually get the job. So the first section I have here is regarding men, and it's business casual. A lot of businesses have a particular day that they consider their business casual day, or some workplaces even consider business casual their proper or their usual attire. So when it comes to men wearing business casual, you want to have some type of khakis on. Dark jeans are also acceptable. As you can see here, here's a picture of a man with dark jeans on. But it ultimately depends on the situation. So that's something that you definitely want to make sure you know when going into the workforce, when going into your job. Make sure that you know what their dress code is and what they accept, what they don't accept. It's really going to help you out. And in addition to that, for your shirt, a man's going to wear a polo shirt, or they're going to wear a collared shirt with no ties. You can see this individual here with the dark jeans on. He has a polo shirt with no tie. And then when it comes to your shoes, you will want to wear some type of black or brown shoes. You want to avoid sandals and sneakers. As you can see, this man here, he has some type of, almost looks like a loafer on. And once again, it matches his belt. That's something I'm going to talk about here shortly. But you want to make sure you try to match your belt with your shoes. So for men in professional attire, you're typically going to be wearing a suit. You want to also match your blazer with your pants. So you want to match your jacket and your pants together. Most suits do come already pre-matched. But it's something that you definitely want to try to do, is make sure that that jacket matches the pants. You're going to want to wear a tie. And then also one thing that I know I like to add in is a tie clip. Not everybody likes to wear them, but I even know that I get some once when Walmart has tie clips. And you can just put a tie clip on. It really kind of just adds into the attire and really makes it look nice. And then in addition to that, you're going to want to wear some type of a dress shoe, whether they be brown again or black. But you're going to want to match the belt with your shoes. It's something that kind of ties the outfit together, in my opinion. Similar to men in a casual setting, a blouse with khakis or nice pants are typically acceptable for women. Some workplaces even consider jeans to be business casual. However, I would be safe and personally recommend wearing either dark jeans or just simply wearing khakis, some type of nice pants. For your shoes, you're going to want to wear flats or low heels. Just like men, no sandals, sneakers, boots. Try to stay away from those. And in regards to jewelry, you don't want to wear anything that's going to be too flashy or too distracting. A simple necklace, earrings, bracelet, those are pretty much acceptable in this type of setting. And then in regards to a dress, if you want to wear a dress, make sure it's not too revealing. Simple is best. As you can see, here's a picture of a woman wearing a business casual dress. It's pretty simple. It's not too revealing. That's going to be your best option in this type of setting. In a professional setting, it's always important to wear a suit jacket with a blouse or a blazer and maybe even a skirt. Just like men, you want to make sure that the jacket and the pants or the skirt, whatever you have on, do match each other. And just like men, usually these come already matched together. However, if you have a straight jacket and a straight pants, make sure that they match. You can wear a nice dress in a professional setting, but just like what I said for business casual, you want to make sure it's not too revealing. You want to make sure that it's professional. Usually women wear heels in this type of a setting. And then again, for jewelry, you don't want to make it too flashy. You can go a little nicer probably than business casual, something a little more with a little more bling, as some people like to say, but ultimately you don't want to make it too revealing. And so that's going to conclude this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I wasn't too boring. But overall, body language, nonverbal communication, how you dress, they're all really, really important things. And they're all important things to take into consideration when going into a job interview, into a meeting, or just in general. It's something that can really help separate you from the rest of the workforce. If you know how to, speak clearly, if you know how to have a good proper position when you're sitting in a chair, or even good eye contact. A lot of these things can really help to separate yourself in an interview and ultimately get a job.